Today I come to you unscripted. I'm really liking these videos where I just get in front of the camera and start talking. So I think we're going to do that right now. This video, I want to address a few things that I'm struggling with. I think a lot of us are struggling with some stuff, and I want to use my platform as a therapy session. What's new? My previous video is about how my therapist dumped me, so you're my therapist now. Thank you. Let's get into it. Things that I am struggling with right now. First things, let's just go for the jugular. I'm really struggling with friendships. I know myself to be a person that, is really good at retaining friendships. And I still have majority of the friendships that I have right now are friendships from a long time ago. So I'm really grateful about that, and I'm really, really appreciative. However, the friendships that I've made along the way, I'm seeming to not be able to retain. And it's been a struggle for me. So I've had to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate why I've held friendships at such a high regard, and learn to be okay with the idea of, the impermanence of things, including people and their existence in your life. I've had to go back to the Christian teachings of things are seasonal, and that includes relationships. So some things, that is. So yeah, but it's been really, really tough. I do think it's because of probably the shadow work that I've been doing, just healing myself for a long time. Most of my relationships have been based on, just me pleasing people, making sure that everybody likes me, really, really just obsessed with presenting myself in a good light, so that I can keep people around. And when I started doing some internal work, namely shadow work and also inner child work, I realized some things about myself. I've always known that I have a really, really intense mean streak. And for years, I tried to, suppress it, hide it with my bubbly, energetic, lovable energy. And I knew that if people knew that I can be incredibly cruel, only when provoked though, I still stand by that. If you push me to a tight enough corner, my meanness really rears its head, and it's never pretty. So I've always known that about myself, and I really didn't like it. And so when I saw it in other people, I've always been like, that's disgusting. How dare you let yourself be like that, just in public? What? But I've had to really confront that side of myself and just allow her to be and stop suppressing her. She's there for a reason, and in actual fact, most of the times she's there to protect me. I love how I'm speaking about a version of myself in third person. And so I am in that process of accepting the not so pretty sides of myself, and it's hard. It's really, really difficult, especially because for well over 30 years I have held up this reputation and persona of being a sweet, loving, lovely, kind, gentle, really, really just sweet image. And so I know every time people see this other side of, the mean version of me, it's always jarring. And I reveal her way too late. So it takes people aback, and people are like, yeah, no, I'm not going to stick around for this. We're not vibing with it. But on the bright side, I am learning now to lead with my flaws, so that people are not shook midway, and then all parties get hurt because you were expecting a certain kind of person, and because I presented myself as such a person, and then things get rough, and then I'm like, actually, nice, Tando is gone. So yeah, that's been really hard in my friendships. But at the same time, I kind of appreciate it because, I'm allowing myself to be my true, authentic self. And that means also accepting the disgusting side of who I can be. And if I allow myself to let that girl be, I don't know, I think it's a healthier relationship with myself and other people around me, because then we don't suppress her to a point where when she rears her head, it's a nightmare and it's a disaster. The next thing that I've been struggling with is work life. This one, when you have known yourself to be the shite in what you do. How I started my career was like in basically like a Survivor setup of a bunch of interns. There was 8 of us, and there was like six guys and 2 girls, one of which was myself, and we're basically working towards getting this job, all 8 of us, this one job. And yeah, after 6 months, the company was like, yep, you're the one that we want, and that was me. So that was the foundation of my career. So since then, I definitely tried to kind of either maintain that same momentum or, keep growing, challenging myself and getting better at what I do. And I did that. My resume looked really delicious. You have like one of the best, if not the best, of South Africa's journalists on your CV vouching for you. You're just confident. I'm a confident girl in what I do, and I'm just like, yeah, really. Being headhunted, I'm just like, what, girl, you know what you're doing. You're the ish at what you do. And this past year or so, work has shown me things. For the first time ever in my life, I've had struggles in the workplace, which has, kind of had a knock-on effect on my confidence in what I do, which obviously messes with your head and your emotions. So that's been really, really rough to have to confront the notion that maybe you're not so great at what you do either anymore, or you got comfortable where you were and now you're being challenged, and that has not been fun. I've really, really been struggling with work, so that's been tough. That's all I have to say about that. I am kind of rebuilding my confidence and trying to, regain my momentum, plant my roots again in what I know myself to be in what I do. Trying to go back to the drawing board, figure out some things, and maybe come to terms with some things, maybe admit a few other things. But that's been really, really tough. Don't wish it on anybody else. But I guess it's part of the growing process. You have to go through these things where, your comfort zone is flipped on its belly. And that's been my life, my work life for the past year or so. Next thing I'm struggling with is social media, man. I'm very fortunate that for the most part, my experience on social media has been really positive, because it's always worked for me and not the other way around. Really pride myself in being able to just shut it down if it doesn't work for me. Facebook, I reached a point where I was like, what am I doing? I only recently reopened that account because I didn't even reopen. I created a whole new one because of money. I had to do an always pad campaign, and Facebook owns Instagram, WhatsApp, so they kind of force you to have that account in order to be able to do any work. So I opened it and I left it there. Like it's not even me. Like it's just there. There's nothing there. Twitter is another one. I think I've spoken about this on this channel before. Twitter's awful, horrific. There's nothing for me there. It's just not for me. But because of work, I keep it around. I spend a maximum of probably 30 minutes a week on Twitter. It's really just like at work. If there's a story, the politician said something damning on Twitter, then you have to go on there, get screen grabs. So I have to kind of keep on with the trends of how it works, what's working, what's new, what's fresh, what's updated. But more than that, I couldn't care less. I really wish I could actually just get rid of it. So really social media for me is Instagram, and of late TikTok. I really have enjoyed TikTok, but I'm realizing after how many months of like being active on TikTok, probably like 6 months, if I'm not lying, probably 6 months of being active and really actually thoroughly enjoying it. Now I'm part of that community. Now I know what it's like. Now I'm a user of TikTok. It's amazing, it's fun, it's educational, very educational, but I'm also finding myself just a little fatigued from it, you know, like feeling really like if I just like went MIA, I really feel like I'd feel nothing. I feel like nothing would happen, and maybe I actually should probably do that. I don't know, maybe I need to take a break, but I'm struggling. It feels like it's not serving me anymore as much as it used to before. Instagram, I go on there and I watch stories, but because once you've got onto TikTok, Instagram kind of starts to become boring. Just, you know, the pretentiousness of Instagram, just all the crap that it comes with that like is really like can be mentally straining and emotionally straining. Yeah, so I'm feeling very much like disenchanted with the apps. Even YouTube, like, well, with YouTube, the nice thing about YouTube is I've always used YouTube as just my creative outlet. It's where if I have a story and I have an audience, so I'm able to tell it. Like I can do this after not being around for 3 weeks. Whereas a lot of like YouTube creators I know feel the pressure to like upload every day because you have to be consistent in order to get the numbers. I can't control the numbers genuinely, so I decided a long time ago to not even focus on that. I can't tell you what does well on my channel because I will work really hard researching a subject on a topic and I'll talk about it, script it, get people to weigh in on it, and the video won't do as well. And then I'll just shoot a random vlog and then 40,000 people watch it. So I decided a long time ago, girl, don't bother. Just do the work, do what you enjoy. And I think that's why I've stuck around for so long, and that's why I enjoy it. Someone asked me recently, how do you do it? I just started a YouTube channel, and oh my goodness, this is so taxing, this is so exhausting. And I'm like, I've never ever felt YouTube fatigue because I don't have a schedule. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for views. I just do it because I like it. And I think once I stop liking it, then that's when I'll probably just like quit altogether. But I still really enjoy doing this. So YouTube is about the only social media platform, which I feel like it isn't really, that I'm vibing with. But Nakona, it's because I don't feel a pressure. I made sure that I create an environment where I don't feel pressured to churn out content like a content machine. I post when I want to and when I can. And I'm grateful to have an audience that doesn't mind that. I know a lot of people will sometimes DM me telling me, "Yes, sister, you haven't posted in this such and such amount of time, so we miss you there by YouTube." But no one's ever been forceful. So if you are forceful, then I check you real quick. So yeah, thank you for your patience for that. What else am I struggling with? The next thing I'm struggling with is survivor's remorse. What do I mean by that? What am I talking about? They just released the unemployment stats in this country. They're staggering. It's bad. I know of so many people who have lost their jobs, have had to pack up their stuff and go back home, because we are a society that's like poor. Even the middle class of this country is literally like one paycheck away from being poor, and living on the street. So when COVID hit and people lost their jobs, companies were shut down and closed, people who were living like myself, who were one paycheck away from their life being in shambles, had their lives flipped upside down, and a lot of people who are looking for work and have been looking for work since COVID, or since even before COVID. And I just, at this point, I'm like, there's nothing that I am doing specially that is allowing me to continue to live a life that I've lived pre-COVID. I'm still fine, nothing's changed financially for me. I still spend the way that I used to. I can still afford the things that I used to afford. And that's a blessing, and I'm grateful. It can only be my grandmother's prayers, honestly, at this point, because there is literally nothing that I am doing that every single person that's looking for a job, that lost their job and is back on the job market, there's nothing that I'm doing that they're not doing. In actual fact, I feel like those people are doing like 4 times more than I am right now. So that thought, like, I just feel guilty. I feel bad. And yeah, I've been struggling with that a lot. But I'm also, constantly reminding myself that's not my story. And as such, I can only be empathetic, but I shouldn't take it on and just carry it on my shoulders, because it serves no one. But I've definitely been struggling with that kind of survivor's remorse. Another thing that I've been really, really struggling with, is family stuff. I went home last week, and it's just not getting better, man. Family is so hard. People are mean. People are insecure. People are sad. People are unkind. Unsupportive. But at the same time, in the same family, people are really lovely. People are supportive. People are there. People want things to go well in the family. Yeah, but just, typical family dynamic things. Really been struggling with that. But I am blessed to have, duality. Boff. 2 things can be true. More than one thing can be true at once. Yeah, because, you go home and you're happy to see your loved ones, and they're happy to see you, and it's lovely, and you still love each other, and you'll love each other till death. But there's just all these issues bubbling under, or other issues just erupting in your face, and then also just being confronted with the poverty at home. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changing for the better. It's just sad, Yeah, I've been really, really struggling with that. So much so that I go home now probably once a year. Nakona, it's because something's happening. It's either there's a job at home or there's a funeral. But outside of that, I try to avoid it, because it's toxic. You live drained. It's such a vampire energy sucker. Because on one hand, you get there the first day, oh my gosh, happy, hugs, it's nice. By day 2, you're starting to see the things just unraveling in front of you, and it's like, whoa, when do I go back? When do I go back to my home where this, and run away basically from all of this? But then also when you're me, you feel guilty because you're leaving the people that you love behind to be in that situation. I wish I had the means to just, uproot all the people that I love to just better circumstances, but I don't. I barely have the capacity to do that for myself. So yeah, probably the last thing that I'm struggling with is retaining those little pockets of happiness that everyone says you must hang on to. It's been such a struggle, man. Before, I've always been cognizant that happiness is elusive for some, and if you do find it, it's fleeting. I've always known that. But man, of late, it's just that much more difficult to retain the little pockets of joy that you find in this show. Because I've really been struggling with that, and I'm not sure if it's because I've come to terms with just how mundane and how ordinary life is, how there's just this is it, there's nothing to it. And that hasn't brought me any kind of peace yet. I'm really hoping that it does. I'm still hopeful, so that's good. I'm hoping that it does at some point. But yeah, coming to the realization that there's nothing more to life. This is literally it. Right now, me sitting in front of this camera talking to you, I'm gonna upload this video. This is life. This is me living life. I could be dead tomorrow, and that would have been it. That blows my mind, because I've lived my life for a long time, which is why I've had an existential crisis for such a long time. It was so prolonged unnecessarily. But I've lived my life for a long time just thinking, there's gotta be more. There's gotta be more to life than chasing out every temporary high to satisfy me. Yeah, I thought there was more, but there isn't. There genuinely isn't. This is it. This is it. You think a thought, you do a thing, consequences. So yeah, I'm not sorry for this soppy, sad video. I'm hoping it'll serve its purpose. In the comment section, I want to continue this kumbaya session. Tell me your things, please. Please just somebody tell me that I'm not alone. That you're at least going through at least one of these things, if not all. Yeah, please overshare in the comments. Tell me your stories. I want your dabbers. Give me all the tea. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Okay.